All right. Welcome everybody to our first of 2024 board meeting for EGPOA. I'm online today, as you can tell, but in the room, Alana will be able to take the lead if need be. I guess we start with the pledge, and then we'll get down to calling roll.
Pledge allegiance to the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right. Ask Chris to call the roll, please.
Patrick.
Here.
Alana.
Here.
Earl. Dan. Here. I'm Gannon. Are you on? Leslie. Joel is coming, but not coming here. Beverly.
Here.
Alice. Here. And Zach's not making it. I think that's what Patrick said. Okay.
Yeah, I got a note from Zach earlier. It's a touch hard to hear you guys. So just keep a note on that.
We have 7 right. We have a quorum.
Great. All right. First item is approval of the December 17, 2023 minutes. Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Great. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, that motion passes. All right, let's go on to our management and maintenance report. Michael, if you can give us an update on the capital projects punch list, and I specifically wanted to know an update on the Smith machine purchase, and any items that were remaining from the walkabout with the board on the 19th of November.
The Smith machine, their hope was to have it delivered by the 10th. That hasn't happened. I did send Matt an email, copied Chris on that. He did not get back to us. That was on Friday. So as soon as I have an update on that, apparently it was in stock and in the warehouse, so I don't know what happened. So I haven't spoke to him.
We were gonna have, when they come out, we were also gonna have to look at treadmills.
Right, so when they do deliver, they're gonna just go through and service everything, take a look at everything, make sure everything's up to par, and just so we can stay on top of the machines and make sure everything's in good working condition.
Can
You
you
have the rowing machine has a broken no, it's the hook where the hooks in instead of going all the way to the front of the machine. I don't know a lot about it. I never really rode, so. Some of the stuff around the building, the dog park, the tree was finally removed. The pine tree that had to be removed there, that was removed. The new walkway has been installed to the gate area. So that's all functioning. Just cleanup items around. We've been working with the, we've had issues with the gate coming into the property. Last weekend there was a software upgrade by Honeywell that caused the gate not to open. It was locked down. That was first thing in the morning on Saturday morning. So that was addressed right away. When we did do that, we also found out that it is set up what they call fail secure. So if it loses its power to it, the gate just stays down and does nothing. So that's been changed around so it's fail safe. So if the power goes out or there's some kind of power interruption there, it will open up and just stay open. One thing that happened is it'll run on battery backup for about 8 hours. When the 8 hours is up, then it does nothing. So that has been addressed. It currently is not working right now. It worked for about 3 hours. It was Wednesday or Thursday, and then somebody hit the swipe. So we're replacing the swipe. The swipe is also being moved to, instead of being on the left-hand side of the call box, it's being moved to the right-hand side of the call box. So, when people are coming and their mirror hits the call box, they won't hit the strike first, so. That's about it for right here now.
Can you just make sure that you copy me on the emails regarding the Smith machine? I'd like to be included in that.
Sure.
The maintenance, is that something we have to pay for when they come by?
They're gonna come look at it first and then give us something. We can get in a service contract, depending on how often we wanna do it. So, once they came and look at it,
They'll suggest,
Huh?
they'll suggest.
They'll suggest.
Peter Wesley.
Okay, anything else for Michael on the capital projects?
No, I'm sure something come up.
He's so positive.
Um,
Hold on one second, Pat.
Yep. go ahead.
There was some talk about some of the machines being not in the right place or maybe not. Can anybody do anything about that?
That's, I guess,
Looked at?
that's really, the few board members that have been involved and have addressed some of that stuff.
Oh, there is.
But I think it's really, I guess it comes down to a personal preference on where they think should, different gyms, from what I understand, do it different ways and.
So it's not the general public who's demanding something like this.
There's no one, if you move, every time you move something, somebody else complains about something. So I respect it with different opinions, but at the end of the day, we just have to we made the layout decisions based on the advice of an active community member. And I think that's the best we can do right now. And
We also don't have enough equipment in there to really engineer a layout that would allow somebody to go from one machine to the next. There's not enough stuff in there to make that make sense.
yeah,
The only issue that I would say, really is the TVs are obviously offset versus the machines, but there's not much you can do about that, so.
Can you move the TV, like the one on the end?
If you look, the lines are running through the walls there and
But
everything,
there's a bracket,
the lines.
there's a
The
line there
data
too, there's a data line there too.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, doesn't sound like there's much that could be done, and we have addressed it before, so, thanks for bringing that up, Alex. Okay, anything else for Michael on the capital projects? All right, hearing none, go ahead, sorry.
I'm good for now, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Let's go on to the next item, which is the 90 North Emerald Drive listing contract. The board in the last month voted by email to list that property, which we currently own. It's been listed with Keller Williams and at a rate of a commission rate of 4% and a listing price of $525,000 for a 6-month exclusive contract. So I just wanted to ratify our vote on that. That's tab 2 of your board books. Board members, does anybody have any questions on that? And if not, can I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
Great. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Any recusals?
Oh,
Do you just want to take another roll call because we had 2 people come in between our first roll call on this one? I don't know if that's important.
Yeah.
you know, I might wanna do a
I
roll
edited
call.
it.
So I don't even know,
Just,
I don't know if you need a roll call if you want to.
or just say that like our board members showed up.
Look, guys, a roll call's been requested. It's fine. We'll do a roll call vote. No problem. Yes.
You know, it's a lot.
Yes.
Bro,
Here.
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop.
I'll need a vote.
Yeah. Thank you. I vote yes. Joel? Yes. Beverly?
Yeah.
Alice? Motion passes.
Okay. Michael, any other management or maintenance items?
No, I'm good for now.
Okay.
So does the gate work? If somebody asked me that question.
We already.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
No?
Yes, no,
No, yes.
it's waiting for an update.
It was covered prior to you.
Somebody hit the swipe with their mirror, so it broke the swipe, so.
So what about the gates down by the pool? Does that work like the boat gate? That works on the cars?
Yeah, that's not on right now, that's turned off for the winter months,
Okay,
because if the snow is there, behind it, it'll burn up the motor, because it doesn't open all the way to reset to come back.
but they're locked. Those gates are locked.
No, there's a pin in them like there's.
Power down.
Gotcha. Okay.
Sorry, Pat, go ahead.
No worries. Okay, the next item is just a quick update on our new insurance broker. Michael and Brittany and I have been working to onboard the new broker and get them a ton of information that they've requested. We had a kickoff Zoom with them where they did some training for Michael and Brittany around risk management and around contracts and indemnity language. All of our contractors are going to have, they either need to have certain insurance requirements and or an indemnity agreement with us so that we're transferring risk to all of those contractors. We're not taking that risk on. But most importantly, our renewal process has started. And applications are starting to be submitted. By no means do we have any feedback on what our quotes might look like or what insurance offerings we might have. But I just wanted to let everybody know that since we voted, I think it was last month, to replace our insurance broker, the new brokers at York or whatever their new name is are up and running and happy to answer any questions anybody has on that. But this is really just an update. Okay. Let's go on then to item C, which is the rules and regulations. Dan, I'll ask you to take the first one. This is a proposal Dan would like to make regarding the Entertainment Court's minimum age requirement. Dan, the floor is yours.
All right. Our current policies regarding the entertainment use were written long ago during time from the facility. We're not funded with our security at the expense of our members of $100,000 plus annually. Facilities during these times are also absent up-to-date CCTV footage, which we also have currently. The entertainment is also currently connected directly to the office where our staff and management works and operates 5 days per week. Our membership is comprised by a growing base of kids, and it's amazing to me that there are more and more people in recent years raising families here on a year-round basis. Our members are levied dues to operate this association and its facilities, and if they do so wish to authorize their team to use the facilities, we should embrace that with open arms. With that, there should be no logical reason our local teams would be turned away from using the entertainment or its sports. I recommend all teenagers be granted access to the entertainment and sports.
Oh, thank you, sir.
So at this point, our current policy dictates that only 16-year-old members or 16-year-old kids would have an access point to be able to get use of the entertainment. I don't feel that that's fair for all the teams that are here. We see kids going in and out trying to play basketball all the time. I would like to reduce that age to 13 and grant them a access card.
Okay.
Full access.
And-
Full access to the.
entertainment.
Just a point of information. Teenagers are currently allowed to use the facility with parents.
They would only be allowed in with a 16-year-old or older that has an access card.
Yeah, that's an important clarification. It's not that we don't allow kids in there. They're just the minimum age to be unsupervised or on your own is currently 16. And I believe the same applies for the pool. My question is then around the ID cards, because right now you have to be 16 to get an Emerald Green ID card. And if we lowered the age to 13 for use of the entertainment courts, by the way, we're only talking about the entertainment courts, right? Not the fitness center?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would also say that this could be considered an expense to the association, because now we would be granting 13 and up access cards. So we could also look into, if we want to if we wanna go this route, maybe a $10 fee for anybody under a certain age per card. And then that would help to recoup. Got it.
I have a child who's about to be 13. I guess my only question to you would be, and I don't even know if it's about Ben, how does this impact our insurance? Because now you're talking about a younger audience having access without parental consent. Does that information need to be provided to our insurance broker as we look at getting insurance for us? And this becomes another one of the things we have to take care of? And or do we just have all parents indemnify themselves if we do go that route, where we provide 13-year-olds? Because there's an additional liability when you have 13 and 14-year-olds playing by themselves. Basketball, volleyball, pickleball, that's the only thing. I don't have a position on that. I just.
They've been doing it all along, but until recently, now that we're really starting to adhere to the rules, now they're being turned away. So,
Can I ask, this is for you, so how would this affect, our management of pool access during the summer? So in other words, let's kind of follow the logic of that. So we get a 13-year-old who has an ID card to access the entertainment, which could be coded so that it accesses the entertainment, but not the pool.
And not
But-
fit center.
And not the fit center, but you also will have, I can imagine in the pool, you might have a younger child flashing an ID card to security or pool attendant. Do you think that's gonna be sustainable?
And that would, the current rules at the entertainment are, 16. I guess it's like Disney, we're considering a 16-year-old an adult. So the 16-year-olds can bring in younger kids. However, it does say that, 16 and under have to be accompanied by an adult. So what security was doing was just following the pool rules. The pool rules, the 16-year-old is allowed in the pool, but just that 16-year-old. If somebody younger is coming in, they have to be with an adult, and that was 18 or older. So that, but as far as, you know, we can have policing for different facilities. You may want to look at, you know, the pool stuff as well at the time. Access is, you know, it could be set up however we do it, just like the gym. It'll let you in the building, but it won't let you into the workout area.
From the matter, the public action just could be managed.
It could be managed. The hiccup is going to be the security end. With our access system, as we get more and more of the bugs worked out of it, eventually there will be a monitor for security to look at when you swipe your card, your picture's coming up on the screen. So,
I had an idea that might help both of what you're talking about, and I philosophically don't believe about moving monies because we give out guest passes, so I don't believe we should charge people. But if we were to do something like this, and I spoke a little to Michael about this, which is we should have places for teenagers to play. That's a benefit of working here, and it's nice to have a safe space for them to come.
Yep.
I think if we did cards for younger, they should be another color. So it signals to security, this kid should only be in the courts. If I see him in the gym, he's not following policy. Just like, you know, younger kids follow, like they sign off on a handbook, code of conduct at school. This will allow parents to bring in their younger kids to sign off on that so that they are aware you must follow these rules. If you don't, it will be taken from you. So, you know, like, so that the office is explaining to the kid what their responsibilities are. I say kid, but I mean teenager. And then they are understanding that this is their only location that they could come by themselves. The only question mark I have is guests. Are they also allowed to bring guests? Should they not be allowed to bring guests? Is that because a 14-year-old managing their friends is like a whole other animal? So like, is it just this is your singular pass that you could come and play on basketball?
And I think the only thing I'll say, Patrick, to that, it's a good problem to have, but we're at a point whereas we have a lot of people going to the auditorium during peak times. 4 and 8, 4 and 9. That's also probably the peak time for our younger audience. At what point is that gonna collide.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're dealing with it right now. And so that's the only thing we need to think about. I think Dan's idea is spot on. I just know we need to factor in the management of that when you have community persons that are going to participate in pickleball. They want to play pickleball. You got a group of people there. And then you have basketball players. You have a bunch of young kids there, 14, 15 years old that are cursing. Like, that's a real dynamic that if we're going to go down this path, we need to take that into consideration. Lastly, from a parental perspective, I think we almost have to have a sign-up process because we all have been 11, 12 years old. We have kids at that age. If you tell someone not to do something and they do it, how many times do you tell them before you take their privilege? And their parent gets engaged. That puts security. We have young guy, really quiet, easy going. It puts him in an uncomfortable situation because now his parent of this child is now confronting security because they said, listen, I asked them to do something twice. They didn't do it. Or I saw them running around in the gym, in the workout area, and I'm taking their privileges. It's
I
cool
don't think it's
now.
security, it's not security, it's management.
No, security, everybody, security dealing, it's gonna be
Security coordinates with Michael and then Michael coordinates with the parents. But Earl, we pay security.
I don't.
I know where Earl's going.
Yeah.
It could be like.
Yeah,
one
we
parent.
have security or not, you're putting security in a situation where they have to say, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to leave. Then that person's parents gets involved, so where we have to put ourselves in a situation where we're taking that in consideration. I'm not saying we're not paying them, I'm just saying we're putting that person.
There, I have to obviously be an escalation process.
I think, Earl, you're right on, but I think what happens here is securities are professionals, we pay the security. It's no different than if an adult acts improperly.
Yeah.
And the security guard goes to the adult 3 times, if that's the rule, and say, you know, you gotta do that, and after the 3rd time, you're out of here and you lose your privilege.
We have a liability waiver for the gym, why can't we just do that for the entertainment and for also, and then,
We do, it's already in.
I think,
I don't understand the issue.
I think at that point,
Well, your waiver's not gonna be enforceable against a 13-year-old.
It's not gonna be enforceable, but if they're doing something wrong or distracting property or something, you can have to.
so, hold on, so 2
Wait.
things, so to support I think we can't have guests, right, because the existing pool policy is, or a 13-year-old can come, I would support the motion to have a 13-year-old who is a child of a member in the entertainment event. I can't get around the idea of guests because a 13-year-old can't sign a waiver for their buddies. So, and the way the pool waiver works is that you are signing a waiver for you and your guests.
Kids should be able to supervise them.
No.
Right, the other, I think with security, like, so, 2 of us do this for a living in terms of, like, looking after kids. It is true that we pay security, it's another thing to figure out how to make it work in practice, and I think that's like a problem that we need to figure out, so like, there's a valid point, like, should we expect security to address misbehavior in the entertainment? Absolutely, that's what we pay them for. It's another thing, it's one thing when you have a child who's misbehaving with a parent present, and the security member can say, parent, I'm making a call that you need to exit the facility at this point because your kid just isn't following the rules. It's another thing when you have a 13-year-old without a parent, and then, like, yeah, can there be a process where the security member somehow gets in touch with the parent, but like, what do you do with the kid in the meantime? Like, and then you have a security member who is focused purely on one kid, and then to the exclusion of all other responsibilities. Like, I'm not saying it's an unsolvable problem. We just need to figure out what that looks like when a security member confronts an unaccompanied
The
minor.
entertainment has been open almost a year now.
But you bring up a good point, Chris. So what happens if the parent drops the kid off here? It's a day like today, and the kid goes off the walls, and the security guard says, you gotta leave. He doesn't have a key to go home, and he's stuck. What do we do?
That's kind of what my concern is. The under 16 is, you know, we have a snow day and I gotta go to work, so I'm gonna swing by and drop my kids off at the entertainium. And listen, there are a lot of parents that wouldn't do that, but there are parents here that will. And I think then we're asking our security guards also to be, you know,
A babysitter.
maybe baby steps, and then you're putting them in a position.
That's all I'm trying to say.
It's gotta be, they're already babysitting. what's different between now and,
But you're making it harder for the security guard.
What's the change?
If the parent has to be there or an adult, that's someone who's there with the kid. And if the kid and parents don't have to be there, then the issue of the security guy dealing with the kid.
so it sounds like we're just dealing with a bunch of what ifs.
No, but
That's what it sounds like.
I said out loud, I'm gonna support the motion. These are real things that
That's
we
what I'm
think.
saying, it's a bunch of what ifs, so we need
These
to.
are what ifs that are actually, we have to address, these are realistic what ifs.
We're thinking the age 13 and not 14 either. That's another question.
I was gonna say 14, but I didn't want to parcel out because I was like, what's the difference? I think 14 is better because you're in high school, you have working papers, like you have a set of middle school is 13. But I didn't want to split hairs over 13, but I.
Can I ask you a question, Chris? The gym is in the building, and how do you get in the gym if you're in there playing basketball? Is this-
Swipe, and you can turn that swipe.
So
down.
isn't it possible, kids are playing, you have 13, 14-year-old kids, they don't get too hurt playing basketball, I'm not too worried about basketball, whatever else they're doing or running around. But if they got in the gym, because people open the door, et cetera, there are weights there.
Yeah.
Then you could get real injuries there, and I just have a liability concern. Because you're letting kids unsupervised, 13 and 14, and they'll get into the gym if they want to.
So
That's just a liability.
So to that point, Attorney.
Mark.
Security's up front. Yeah, I want to respect. Security's up front, doing their job.
Yeah.
You got 3 or 4 kids in there playing basketball.
They're not gonna see.
You and I come out of the gym, we don't know their age, we're not thinking twice about it. Should we say, how old are you before you go in there?
Yeah.
You go in there. That becomes a real problem that is what if. And I think that what if is
What-
very.
Why don't we, what, sorry, go-
First, and then next question.
We already have it written in the waiver that everybody's required to sign before they can get access to the weight room. That they can't allow someone else access without using their own card. So why are we even asking it?
look, why don't we,
So that would be the person, if Beverly's the one allowing someone underage. She's obviously violating her own waiver. So
Why'd you do that?
guys, why don't I offer, or propose to do this? Because it surely doesn't sound like we have consensus and we have more questions than answers. Is to really take another, several weeks to study the issue. I will review, Earl, you raised a good question about the insurance, point. I don't think it will affect us, but it's worth, at least asking that. Because especially since we have the, card access control. Dan, I'm supportive of this. I think it's a good idea, but I think we do need to vet through all these important questions. And what I'll suggest is that over the next several weeks, Michael, you have a conversation with the security folks about how that might work. I'll have a conversation with the insurance brokers. And then Michael will get your formal recommendations in advance of our next meeting, and then we'll take it up as a motion at our next meeting. Does that sound fair?
That sounds fair.
But we've already determined that we may not have a next meeting in February, so do we want to put a date on this?
Vote by email.
We could vote by email. Yeah, it's not a problem. I just think we need to make sure we're taking the time to think about it.
I just want to be clear with that current 16 years old, if you have a pass, you can get in the building, you can bring a 13-year-old with you in the building. That's how it currently is. And that 16-year-old is allowed 3 guests or 3 people with them. So just so we're clear
Do
that
we have written rules on that?
we do,
You do?
we do.
What happened?
Thank you, Mark. It was very confusing for me as well.
If the 16-year-old can use the weight room?
No, the gym.
Okay, fine,
The
perfect,
courts.
perfect, thank you.
Courts.
That's very.
Of course, what is happening though, and we've addressed that, the 16-year-olds and 15-year-olds are coming in with their parents' card and swiping to get into the gym. So
So
we've addressed.
when we were communicating via email regarding the gym or the fitness room, our dialogue around that was 16 and up, wasn't it?
We have to use the weight room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So then why did Michael just say 18?
No,
Did I see it?
I don't think so, I don't think.
I thought
It's not 16.
16 and above.
16
So 16 and above are allowed in the weight room.
Correct.
Got it.
Actually, they should be 16 and above is allowed in the facility as well. They actually move as an adult.
No, I must have misunderstood what he just said.
Yeah, 16 and above.
All right, so we'll study the issue more and then take it up by email vote over the next several weeks, okay? Moving on to the next item, sticking with our theme of rules. So the next two items are they're effectively a new document. These are tabs, I think 3 and 4 of your board books, board members. They're recodifications of our current rules for the pool facility, as well as the boat and dock policy. And the reason that we're taking these two documents up is more around our insurance renewal. Both of these documents, like the entertainium rules and the document that we sent out when we opened the entertainium, will have a waiver and release agreement in it. We don't currently have a waiver and release for the pool or for the boat and dock area. And the point here is that as we're telling our quote unquote story to underwriters in our insurance renewal process, in addition to telling them that we've learned our lessons and we're getting contractual indemnity waivers from all our contractors, we need to make sure that all of our facilities have these waiver and release agreements in place. So that's really what these two documents are about. For the pool rules, which is the first one that we'll take up, there are no new rules, there are no changes. It's literally just a cut and paste with the waiver and release language on it. The second document is the boat and dock policy. That went through the Lakes Committee. Earl for Oversight has also had a look at it in advance, and the Lakes Committee approved it because there is a change in there to require liability insurance for the electric powered pontoon boats. And I believe there's one clarification around the dock fees. So in other words, if you do have, it takes out the no pontoons allowed language that's somehow carried over, which I think the Lakes Committee is not in favor of. And if you do take a double slip, then you pay $200 versus the $100 if you had a single slip. Logical enough. And that's what the Lakes Committee has approved. So with those couple of changes, just a second, Joel, with those couple of changes, it really is about the waiver and release language in the two documents. So we can take them both at the same time. We could talk about them one at a time, however you guys want to do it. Joel, I'll recognize you first.
Thank you. So I'm on page 2 of the thing, on the where it says general boat and dock rules. It reads, members registering any electric power boat must submit proof of insurance. I'd like to change that to read pontoon boat, because if you have a little rowboat with an electric motor, do you really have to have insurance for that?
So I don't have a boat. I'm a vessel of the oversight committee.
Okay.
This came up in the oversight committee. I think it was called that there were members who just wanted to make sure there was insurance that was on, just in case something happened. There wasn't a definition whether it was a pontoon boat, whether it was a boat with an electric motor. They just wanted to ensure there was insurance. Dan called it out. I think it was fair.
Yeah,
but
this came up with us when we wanted to change this to.
Well, can we, so while we're on the boat one, I got something else to do with that, but if we're gonna stick with the boat, the insurance, just a point of clarification, Patrick, is our insurance provider requesting that we require people on the lakes put liability coverage on their boats?
No, it's not coming from our insurer. It came from Oversight and from our Lakes Committee.
yeah.
Okay, so there's also gonna be a problem here, because you can control this if a guy parks back there, because you can get the sticker and all that. But you have people that live on the lake that don't park their boat back there. How are you gonna enforce it against them?
I think, again, I don't have a boat, so it was literally.
How does this help us though?
I think if someone gets hurt and you have a boat, then guess what? Your boat ran into mine, you have insurance, so I'm responsible for it.
No, the other guy would,
I mean,
How would it fund the association?
I think it really wasn't about the association. It came up, that if you're going to be on the water, you need to have some type of insurance for your boat to be on the water.
Joel, to answer your question though, I think, look, we adopt rules all the time, and the question of enforcement is always the biggest problem with them. But I don't think the fact that we can't enforce every rule to a T should be a reason not to adopt a rule. I know there's going to be an enforcement gap here with this, but this is what, the Lakes Committee has approved. I think it's a reasonable thing.
we wanted wanted it with the pontoon, we had pontoon boat,
That's fine.
Let me ask a question, and maybe Patrick, no, Zach's not here, but if you have homeowners insurance and you have a boat,
Yes,
Alan's here, I'm sorry.
yes.
It's covered on home.
It's
And that-
covered.
and that's.
So if you have homeowners insurance and you have a boat, you have a right to use a lake, you're covered. There's no separate boat insurance. I mean, is
You just have to add.
there?
is no boat.
There is. There is. You can buy it.
On my boat.
But it would be covered under your homeowners.
You could add it, and that's what came up.
And so here's the question, do you want to do this to have, and I'll defer to Patrick or Alan, a Emerald Green EGPOA as a additional insured or an indemnity on it? Are we concerned about that?
When it came up, that was one of the issues. And again, I'm a vessel. I don't own a boat. I'm just taking the aggregate of
You
nine.
say you're a vessel, that's a boat.
I was gonna go
It's a
there.
pleasure craft.
And so I just, it was part of registration. So if you are to register, one of the criteria for registering a boat was to ensure you had proper insurance. And so when Patrick sent that out, that was something that I gave my commitment to the oversight committee that I would bring that up as something that we would want to consider. Now, the parameters of that, Dan, you're spot on. I don't have a vote, so I have to defer to you all. I just want to make sure we're listening to the folks from the oversight.
So I'm just trying to look at this logically. You're gonna require, Emerald Green homeowner to provide another layer of insurance for a boat that is not under their normal homeowner's insurance, is what you're requesting. Meanwhile, the same access is granted to Lake Louise Marine. And they're not required, so our residents, our homeowners that are paying the dues are the ones being held accountable for paying for the.
Lake Louise Marine has to follow our rules. It's our language.
So that's where I'm going with this. So if Lake Louise Marine does not, who is the enforcement? And
But I think you're spot on. It's not, we should not adopt new rules because we don't have enforcement. We have to.
Well, you
at least
have to.
We can only, look, we can only adopt rules that apply to E EGPOA members, number one. Number two, this is, the provision requires proof of liability insurance. If your homeowner's insurance covers you as a boater, great, there's your proof. You don't need to go get more insurance. I want to go a little bit out of tradition here and recognize Mark Becker, who was helpful in drafting the new rules of the new rule, because I know he may have a perspective that would help us out. Mark?
Thank you very much. Correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen. Your homeowner's insurance would cover your liability, but it wouldn't cover you if you caused damage to a dock or somebody else's boat.
I don't know.
Well, that's why I'm putting out the question.
I think it's liability.
So Mark, thank you, because just so you all know, Patrick, appreciate you bringing him in. Patrick, Mark was really helping us drive this particular issue when we had the oversight committee. I think we need to follow up on that, but kind of to the point was made, you have the ability to add your boat to your homeowner's insurance. We just needed proof that your boat was covered as part of registration. I think your question is fair. We would have to follow up on that. I don't know the parameters of what homeowners insurance will cover.
So somebody not take their homeowner policy and bring it to the office?
No, you just get your debt page. Your debt page is the front page.
Okay.
Is the question about? It's about sort of the, I think Mark was asking a good question. Is this about what happens when something sort of some kind of collision or something between two homeowners, or is this about identifying GPOA? Like what is the concern for the?
So for the association, that didn't come up on our call. It came up from a protective measure. If someone hit someone else or damaged something else, what protections are in place? That's how it came up. I think the identification issue didn't come up on the oversight committee. It came up, there's a lot of people on the water. There's more people getting on the water. There's more people moving to the community. We need to ensure that at least you're required to have some minimal insurance in case of an issue. That's how it came up.
So is it, to follow on Marlon's point, is it we also don't want to get sued. Is it plausible to,
But you're gonna get to.
is it plausible to attach something to this?
And that would be a waiver and a hold harmless like, I think you have near to the pool. I mean,
No, they
That-
don't.
That is proposed in the document that you have at tab 4.
So
That's really the point of this
Yeah.
document in the first place.
The other point that I had was on the waiver, and it's on both the pool and, the dock. Is it, the author of these waivers, is it their intention that if anything becomes broken during the use of a member's time, whether it's at the pool or the dock, if anything becomes broken, that member is liable to pay for replacement?
well, I'm looking at the waiver and release that Patrick, and it's on page 4 of this, and that's protects for anyone you're giving a dock slip. And you have at least 2 places. Before they get a dock slip, they gotta sign this, and if the waiver, you know, it should be enforceable, then you're covered.
Well, no, the waiver, the language in the waiver is the same for both. Says, I acknowledge, so we'll stick with the pool side on page 3. Says, I acknowledge and agree that I'm responsible to EPGOA for any damages caused by my use or misuse of the facility. So I'm asking, does the author of this policy intend on holding harm against anyone who is in the facility or use of any damages that may occur during their time? Because again, it says it's caused by my use or misuse of the facilities. It does not identify abuse or neglect or anything. So again, if somebody's at the pool and something happens to, they break a Chase Lounge by sitting on it, does this,
That should say, that's what misuse would be.
but it's not
So you're
declaring.
just asking to take out use.
Yeah, it doesn't specify that.
Okay.
It just, it
That's the
says
point
use
of the-
or misuse. So
the
again, the author put that in there for a reason. Why would? the
You don't want somebody being held accountable for something accidentally happening, that was the question.
Look, again, I'm gonna defer to Patrick, because this is his profession with dealing with waivers and insurance company, but if you want people to sign a waiver, put as much stuff as you can in it. If they're gonna contest it, leave the word use in, we're not, you wanna protect the association now. If they're gonna say, gee, I didn't do anything wrong, then fine, maybe if there's ever a claim against them, which is very rare, let them defend it. Put as much language to protect the association that you can in.
Well, what about the members?
So Dan, yes is the answer to your question, right? So the release and waiver is not only a release and waiver of and transfer of
nature.
liability risks. It's if you damage any Emerald Green property and in using, and by the way, this is the same release and indemnity language we have currently for the Entertainium and that we all passed. But if you physically damage the property, yeah, you're on the hook for that. The rules make clear that you are on the hook for any damage you cause to EGPOA property, as well as any damage caused by your guests. Leslie, you have your hand up?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, very good. I have a boat, but I don't keep my boat here. So I have a dinghy, but I don't keep it here either. But yeah, my insurance, homeowner's liability will cover my dinghy. One of the things that I just thought about was that a committee that doesn't have experience or knowledge of boats is creating rules. Wouldn't it behoove us to go, it's like, how many people, 20, 30 people in our community that may have boats on our lake? Why don't we go to them and get some knowledge from them about their boat?
We did. This went through the Lakes Committee.
Yeah, it went through the Lakes Committee.
Yeah, but Earl was saying he doesn't own a boat.
Okay,
He doesn't know, and I understand.
Earl's chair of the oversight committee. Earl, I got it.
Yeah.
Earl's chair of the oversight committee. That's why the
Right.
oversight
So
committee, part of the
that's what
oversight
I
committee
thought.
is charged with looking at our insurance issues. That's why it went partly through the oversight committee, but it also went through the Lakes Committee where boaters can have a say. Chris?
Okay. Because a lot of people knows that I have a boat, whether I keep
Yeah,
it
but
in our lake or not, you know, if I still have a
Respectfully,
boat.
Leslie,
Yeah.
respectfully, everybody on my call had a boat except for myself, and
Okay.
there was 2 people on the call who didn't have a boat. There was 8 other people on the call who did have a boat. And again, as committee chair, my responsibility is to take what I hear from an aggregate perspective. For Mark Becker and some other persons on the call who own boats actually was very clear and said, hey, don't forget this. Here go, he referenced this. So I would actually be conscious of what I said. I was inherently saying, I do not own a boat. My responsibility was to communicate what came out of the oversight committee per the person that were on the committee that voiced their concerns, who are all boat owners.
Okay, that, I didn't hear that part when you were talking about it.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. Go ahead.
Yeah,
So I think-
I wouldn't have asked that question if I would have heard that,
Okay.
you know, that was part of your comment about it, introduction to this.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go back to
It
Dan's
was.
issue with the chaise lounges. So I'm a heavy guy, Alex, you're, no, we sit down on the chair, we break a strap, that's okay, you know, you break a strap. But on the flip side, if I have a kid that's sitting there, gets his parents' cigarette lighter or a lighter, or does something, or is jumping up on the straps and misusing it, and they break a strap, I think the parent's responsible for that.
Right, but that's termed misuse or abuse.
Right.
But when you're just telling homeowners that they're liable for any damages caused by general use, you could just be sitting there and the chair collapses. Well, because we don't like you, you're now susceptible to
I don't think there's a risk of that. I don't see it happening.
A decision point. I motion to approve, and people who want to make amendments.
Can I ask one question? I'm sorry, can I ask one last question?
Close debate, it just moves it towards the decision point. So we
I
can
think
make.
this will affect,
This
will affect you can register a rowboat with no insurance. The state of New York does not require you to present insurance when you register a rowboat, because I've personally done it, and they don't require insurance, they don't require homeowner insurance, they don't require anything. You just go, you register your rowboat, and you're done.
All right, Chris motioned.
I'm gonna second the motion.
Thank you.
Table takes precedence.
Patrick,
Go ahead, Leslie.
yeah,
What?
is there any language in there for acts of nature?
I don't understand the question.
Well, I have my boat on the slip, and I have it tied down really well with all my fenders and such. But then we have a mini tornado, and there is a pretty strong winds that rip my boat from the dock and damage the dock. What about acts of nature?
It's the responsibility that I personally.
Don't, we have a motion to table this, so I
So
think
we
we
need
have to
to,
vote on that. So why don't we?
Is that a second to the motion to table?
Yeah, that's the motion to.
All right. so why don't
I
you vote
second
on
that.
Wait, time out. Was this a motion to table or are we moving it?
Yes, there was.
Sorry, so I made a motion to approve the motion, Alana seconded it, Dan immediately made a motion to table it, and Earl has now seconded the motion to table, so we
All
need
right,
to take a motion.
we need a vote on the motion to table. Sorry, I didn't hear that part. Apologies, guys. There's no debate.
The motion to table takes precedent, so.
Yeah, and there's no debate on it. So, all in favor of the motion to table?
I
All opposed? Okay,
Let's do a roll call.
Yeah, please.
Patrick,
no.
Alana,
No.
Earl,
Abstain.
Dan,
Yes.
I vote no. Leslie,
vote to table.
Alex,
I think I'm gonna vote to table. I don't think we have enough information here. We're fighting with a lot of issues here, so my vote would be to table state. Can we get more than
No.
Joel,
No.
oh,
I would vote to table.
happy man.
541, good calculator.
School.
541.
Yeah, motion fails.
Motion failed?
Yes, 5-4-1.
Okay. So on the primary motion to move these two items and approve them, we have a motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Can
We do a roll.
we,
call.
yeah, let's do a roll call. Please.
A roll call having been requested. Let's do a roll call.
Can we just change that language?
We can only
Yeah.
amend it.
Why can't we do it before?
You should propose amendments before you vote on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I propose an amendment that we
Okay, so-
change, we put in specific language to read,
You wanted to say pontoon, right?
electric motors pontoons.
I'll second that.
It's just, so you're basically saying,
They only
instead of any electric powered boat, you want to say members registering a pontoon boat?
with an electric motor.
A larger boat.
They're all electric motors.
Pontoon boat, leave it at pontoon.
No,
You also have to pedal boat.
You don't have to
But
register.
it most, they have both.
But you don't have to register.
But why would you?
Because the same reason why you wouldn't register a rowboat with a trolling motor on it,
But then it's not about registering, it's talking, saying that
requires insurance.
it's requires insurance.
Well, I'm saying it shouldn't, a rowboat or a pedal boat should not require
It's
insurance.
extreme.
Right.
It's extreme.
But if you don't, I don't think you wanna be specific to pontoon boat, because if you get and I'm not a boat person either, but if you get a bigger than a rowboat, there's one back there right now that has electric motors on it. It's a bigger boat, but it's a whole boat, it's not a. No, why are you taking on?
Why don't, let's just leave it?
I can't just leave it.
You wanna say over 16 feet or I don't know.
No, it's just-
Okay, guys, I'm gonna reclaim this. So Joel has made a motion. Was it seconded?
Yes, Dan seconded.
Okay, so let's take a vote on Joel's amendment, which is to change the wording from electric powered boat to to pontoon boat with electric motor. Correct, Joel?
Correct.
Okay. Abstain.
Allow. According to-
I just wanted to clarify, coming out of the Lakes Committee, Mark, that's like part of Mark's proposal? Mark
Yes.
is not, yeah, okay.
Yes, it didn't get.
No, I just wanted to.
It just didn't get put in, that the Lakes Committee agreed that that's what they wanted.
Oh, wait, no. Well, I don't want to speak for Mark, but Mark gave me the electric powered boat language.
And there was one other thing, as long as we're doing these rules, we required a sticker on the trailer.
All right, guys, we're in the middle of a vote.
You have to have. Alana, how do you vote?
I'm just trying to clarify what I'm voting on. I'm voting for,
A yes would be to amend language to limit it from electric motors, pontoon boats with electric motors, say no would be to vote against that and keep the existing language of all boats with electric.
no with the existing language.
Sorry.
No with I want the existing language. I
Yeah,
can
and
see it.
Mr. Secretary,
On the amendment.
Yes. No,
Mr. Secretary, I changed my vote to no.
Earl, I abstain, damn it.
Dan,
Yes to the amendment.
I vote no. No, we'll go a different way today. Leslie.
Yes to the amendment.
Your math again. I'm doing it. Beverly,
No.
you, Joel,
Yes, to make the change.
I'm confused.
You're voting on it, but change the language.
If we vote, if we table this.
We didn't know.
What we're voting on is to change
I
the
know.
language.
let's go.
Oh, Tom, I vote yes to change it. Tom? Yeah. He votes to change it.
Like I'm saying, if we table this here before,
We can't.
1 second, guys, it's just the point, it's because we don't have enough information. Could we have all this here before we come back and say, okay, now it's yes or no?
Sorry, we're voting on that.
Okay.
You can choose to abstain if you wish, or you
You can join me.
What we doing, me?
I don't, honestly,
Abstain?
I'm gonna abstain.
It's 4-4-2, doesn't pass.
I have another amendment.
Right.
And
I appreciate the math, yes.
Dan?
the amendment is regarding the word use. So I just want to make sure that we determine that the waiver finds fit to somebody abusing facilities or.
But Dan, let me just explain it legally. It's only if the use causes some damage. It's not
It
just,
doesn't clarify that.
that's the waiver language. It's general waiver. I'm
Fine.
just-
Guys, time out. I'm gonna reclaim this. Dan is ready to make a motion to amend. And Dan, specifically, what's the amendment?
So I just want the amendment to clarify abuse.
You gotta be specific though. What do you want it to say?
So I acknowledge and agree that I am responsible to EPGOA for any damages caused by my use of the facilities.
Instead of use and misuse?
Yes.
Yes, he wants to
Okay.
remove use and misuse and.
So
replace it with use.
Deleting and misuse is the proposed amendment?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
That's for specific, I gave you specific.
So use and misuse to abuse.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. All right, Patrick.
Is that seconded? Wait, hey, is anybody seconded it?
I second.
Okay,
Thank you, Leslie. Patrick,
no.
Alana,
No.
I abstain.
What else is new?
Dan,
Yes.
We need to do.
I don't know. Alex.
Help me understand, we had a situation here when Michael, the kids got mad at him and threw a ball out the window and broke the window. And it was your neighbor who let the kid in.
So you
Who paid for that?
I'm gonna come back one neighbor, Leslie, because you're my neighbor.
No, you know, I need it down to, you're not even here.
Leslie, may I please have your vote?
Sorry, are you speaking with me?
Yes, I'm asking for your vote on the motion.
I vote to the misuse word to be removed.
Thank you.
No.
Joel? No, let it stay as this. Yes.
Can I recuse mine? I'll change mine to no.
Clay Hill.
He's
Yes or no,
confused.
or
He's
abstain.
confused.
Like I said, if my vote going to be that neighbor who let that kid in, gonna be responsible for that kid breaking something, I'm for it. Is that what it means?
Yeah, that's abuse, yes.
Okay, but
But the guy who let him in wouldn't pay for it, his parents would pay for it.
All right, we're gonna get in, it's either,
You got 6
yes or
votes.
no.
Yes, you can vote however you want, the motion passes.
Okay, so the language stays.
All right.
No, the motion fails.
Yeah.
Motion failed.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
now on the primary motion, to approve these two documents now as is, unless there are any further motions to amend. Hearing none. All right, the primary documents have been motioned and seconded. Shall we do it by roll call?
Please. And just to clarify, I motioned, just to make it a lot more complicated, I motioned for the doc policy, vote in doc policy and the waiver, so I didn't, the full facility will have to vote on separately. Just to-
We're voting on both at the same time, you said?
No, my motion was only for the vote in doc policy and the waiver.
You don't wanna do both?
So can we make a motion to amend the pool to this, please? That's what I'm gonna do.
Beverly, yeah, proposed, we're going to amend the motion to vote on both policies. Once,
I'll second her.
can we do a voice vote on that, please?
Sure, go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Any opposed? Any
Aye.
recusals? One opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none. Okay, these pass. All right.
Excuse me, Patrick,
Yes, Leslie?
could you clarify what abstentions mean? Because if we abstain, or extension, did you say extensions or abstentions?
Abstention, AB.
Never mind.
Okay.
Carry on.
All right, we're moving on to the financial review now. Board members tab.
Hold on one second.
That was just to amend to vote on both of them, so now we have to actually vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Patrick,
Yes.
you lost Alana.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dan,
No.
I vote yes. Yes. Beverly,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
yes. Alex, yeah. Leslie,
Yes,
you vote yes?
yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Moving on to the financials. Tab 5 of your board members is the December 2023 financial report. turn it over to Dan for a quick update, and then we can approve the financials and move on.
So, thank you, Patrick. Last month income was, what was that? Sorry. Income was, $8,256 over our budget. Year-to-date income is $128,000 over budget. Expenses last month was under budget, $4,407. Year-to-date, we are obviously considerably over budget, $59,542. Our yearly figures, just so everybody is reminded, they're currently being audited by the office and our accountant for accuracy. And they are obviously subject to change as we continue to get better alignment and changes to our general account. The golf course, as a reminder.
Can I ask a question? So the audit, is that?
No, not the general financial audit, this is just the.
It's the year-end, closing of the December.
The golf,
Your bills.
but I'm sorry to cut you off, early. You have a question?
No, you answered. I thought, I didn't know what the audit was for, but it's for last year. Okay, I'm sorry.
As a reminder, golf course was paid off this year, but, there's also a plus side to, our income. If you've noticed through the finances, we actually, generated $1,064 last month in revenue on the golf course because people are still paying their assessments. So that payment plan is continuing to pay a little dividends on the backside there. Another item, Michael moved $107,000 in bad debt due to a foreclosure. So that's where we're at.
Okay. Questions for Dan?
Just like to suggest that we take another look at the project and assessment budget. We haven't done it at all. We documented that when we left to, which I think is important for to see that it's been a minute. And specifically meeting for spring, we consider doing the paving, which is going to be a big expense. I think it would be good for us to take stock of where we are on that. And I'm happy, not just giving more, which I'm happy to help you do that, but I think it probably would be good.
No, I don't think, and I wouldn't take that as more work. I think it's responsible.
Okay. One of the things I heard Dan say is that from an operations perspective, we are saving, which is $4,000.
4407.
That's from the office. I think we need to acknowledge that it's been a little bit to get here. So, Dan, I appreciate Dan calling it out. So for Michael and the team, I appreciate again the constant attentiveness to how can we manage numbers as careful as we can to reduce overage. So I just want to put that on the books that from a board perspective, we acknowledge and appreciate what the office is doing to manage costs as diligently as they possibly can.
And on the backside of that, we also, our payables, is at 20, I think it's 23,556, or off the top of my mind, I want to say around 23 something. That continues to drop down.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's one nugget in there that we're not going to pay until, it's the 11,000. The closing of the one jobs.
Yeah, we were at this place last year. I know, I try to, we have strong treasurer, assistant treasurer, and I try to not speak on it because I'm getting pretty much in the weeds. And the office was put in a situation where they had some high expectations and we needed to quote unquote tighten some things up, and I tip my hat because they've done that. So, unless wrong, they've done a phenomenal job when you look at the end of the year and how we've done it. That's all.
Well, I would also add that there's a certain level of control that the office has to that. The rest of it is us. So if we're expensing things or authorizing the expense, that makes the budget unsustainable. So there's a lot of things that we carry on that as well.
So also to the treasurer's thinking is I won't say we turn the corner, but we're tracking in a different direction. That's all. Thanks, Bill. Oh,
Right,
Leslie.
Leslie, you have your hand up?
Yeah, first, yes, of course, you wanna thank Dan. I know that he puts many hours into this. With regards to the year to date that he said that we were over budget, is there any way that you can tell us 2 or 3 items in which we were over budget?
Outside services, insurance are the big ones.
Outside services?
Outside services, yeah, so that's between the auditing, the accounting, the legal. Marvin doesn't want to hear that, but, all that stuff costs money, and we've had a slew of things pop up over the years, so.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for Dan?
No, Leslie, can you let your hand down? Cause I missed you last time. I apologize.
It's okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right,
Well,
second. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. Now let's move on to the water company update. Is Alan in the room? Mr. Shantz,
Yes, sir.
come on up.
Morning, everybody. Talk loud, we're having problems.
Yeah,
just. Hey, the rate case is still going through the process. There's so many micro, questions that they always do. We're looking probably another couple of months before we get answers on that. The other thing is, a couple of years ago, due to an algae growth in the lake, we authorized the company Princeton Hydro to do a report, see what was going on. After the 2 years of testing and doing what they do, they sent us a report, which is incredibly technical. Thankfully, Tom was in the room because he understood it maybe more than any of us. But their conclusions were, and again, they were commissioned to find out about this algae. They weren't studying fish or plants or things like that. Overall, they said the lake is healthy. It's not a great thing, but the bloom it happens. Their proposal was from April to October, continue to test the lake and come up with a lake management plan so that we maintain a healthy lake and just stay on top of it. They are working on coming up with a plan and they will get back to us on it.
And that referral go to the Lakes Committee?
It did.
Okay.
It did, and it's been distributed to members of the Lakes Committee. And when we had our meeting, there were several people there. Anybody that asked, which there was one, I then forwarded it to them. So most of the people on the Lakes Committee have the report.
All right, and I'm sorry, I'll let you finish. Did the referral put any financial stress on us, or decide to put any burden on the association for any work to be done?
So right now, they're still coming up with a plan and that cost will be within the plan.
So there is a cost down the line somewhere.
Yeah. If we decide to go.
Okay,
have you seen it? Tom?
it will, do we have a general, no?
No, they're gonna have to put that together, Dan. That's a question I specifically asked them as well, because the report recommends a variety of things. Some of them could be more capital-like in nature and down the line. Some of them are a little bit more immediate term potential maintenance items that might be, just extra work for our current staff and the water company staff. But we'll have to see when they get us their recommendations. But I think I've asked them to lay that out in pretty good detail so that we can start planning for that if there's anything that we need to do.
Should be a grant of some sort for that.
I also asked that, yes. And Princeton Hydro can help us. What they've offered is that they can help us with grant writing and identifying grant opportunities. If they do write a grant, they'll write it for free, but they want the actual work when the whatever the restructuring comes in. But we're also looking outside it. We don't have to take that offer. And Michael's going to identify other grant writers as well. We probably have folks in the community who know how to do this. And so we're really going to look hard for those opportunities.
And the report includes all the lakes.
No, just Louise.
No. Like,
So Treasure Lake is not included in that.
No.
There's just a
Those
couple,
out there.
couple ounces of bleach, you're gonna fix this?
No, we should. All right, okay, thank you.
To your question on, we did take out a C-SLAP report, it's called,
Mhm.
and Treasure Lake will be part of that testing, the water testing for
I
that.
mean, we have a selfish interest in that.
Oh, yeah, it's not selfish, it just, it is what it is.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thanks, Alan. Okay, let's move on to the committees. First up would be the Lakes and Helping Hands. Joel?
Okay, so without my notes, you didn't include the notes in here and I don't have them with me, so, okay. Basically, we had a meeting on Wednesday, 7 people showed attendance for the Lakes Committee. We talked about the, office has submitted the C-SLAP report to the Department authorities with a check. So now we're moving on. We talked about the water company, we talked about the report and things like that. And people brought up some questions and stuff that I think I forwarded one to Michael. There was another question regarding if the gates at the boat launch were working. If they weren't, then maybe they should be chained. I don't know if that works or doesn't work, Michael. That's up your decision to do. So I explained to people that you have access to that, but they leave the fire company draws water from the lake in case of an emergency. Okay, so so that was that. So we can talk about it later offside. What else did we talk about? We talked about tagging a fish and that got knocked out. And that's it. Without my notes, that's about all I got, guys. I'm sorry.
C-SLAP report, when do you expect that to come back?
What we did was we just applied for it. So what happened is that over the summer, we will go ahead and, take water samples and send it to them. Last night I was with someone that lives on White Lake and they did that and he said, oh, we did that and we haven't gotten the results yet. So, it's not an immediate thing, with this stuff. So, so that's what will
You take
happen.
your money and then they hold it.
All right, well,
Okay.
I don't want to be involved in the lakes, but selfishly, we need to kind of get an answer to that, even if it's an answer for another answer or date for date.
Right.
Can you give us at least some timeline of when you expect to have?
We haven't even done the testing. We haven't gone.
So the testing will be the summer, so after summer.
No, the testing will be during the summer,
Okay.
but when we get the results will probably be sometime, if I'm lucky, this time next year.
Joe, when was your meeting was this Wednesday?
Yes,
I didn't get an invite, was it?
it went out, Brittany sent it out.
It was scheduled prior to Wednesday?
Yeah,
Yeah, she sent it out to the community.
right. We sent out that and we sent out the Helping Hands as well.
Yep.
So we both were done at the same time. So that was, okay, so I'm gonna move on to Helping Hands. The Helping Hands, we had 5 people. That meeting was conducted at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. We realized that we have to work closer with the office as far as getting information out so that we can get more people to sign up for that. And also to be able to have the office distribute what the services of the Helping Hands Committee will be and see if we can get a list and have people call. So that's something that we have to, move along is what will happen there. So that's it.
Has the office or the Helping Hands Committee had any needs arise?
Not yet, not yet,
So nobody came forward with a need?
not yet, no, but they may not, they
Yeah, I
don't
think
know,
we
they
need
probably
to
don't
work.
know. But we gotta get the work. We gotta get the work.
So we need like a 1-pager maybe that.
Yeah, I have listings of what the town, just try and get it out, get it written out Monday. So we'll work with her on it.
Okay,
Oh, there was one other thing on the Lakes
Yeah.
Committee, specifically on Treasure Lake, there was, people that have come up to me and talked to me about maybe trying to get, some dredging done on Treasure Lake. So I've spoken to Tom about that. But everybody that talks to me about that, I would say that we're not gonna come to the community to do that because we all know what we bought on Treasure Lake. So if you wanted to do something, you would do it out of your own pocket and.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
I thought that was protected, like it was.
No, it is, but you can do it with rules, like now, you correct me if I'm wrong, like right now, the water level is drawn down, so you can get out there, now, especially now, everything's frozen, and let's say you wanna pull out a stump, or you wanna pull out a rock, or something like that, you probably can do that now, because the water is not there, the water is now on the.
So the protection status is during the lower water,
Well, yes.
the non-protected status is during the.
No, but it's protected all the time.
So right now.
We'll have to get a permit, he's talking.
So let me just go ahead and throw this out there. Right now, I'm actively having conversations with DEC around what it would take to go in and remove all of it. We have to get approval, so they have to come out and, take some samples. Once the biologist, botanist. Take the samples and come back and say, hey, you actually can remove, you're fine. You're not replacing, we're not building on it, all we're doing is removing it. So if we were replacing and building on it, that would be one issue, but we're not gonna do that. Once that order comes back, it'll be legally on DEC letterhead. Then there'll be an active conversation with all of us who live. And we will make a decision on how to best handle that, and we'll make sure that there's a plan before the spring.
So I'm just asking because we had a gentleman here a couple of meetings ago.
That's the reason.
He raised the concern, but to me, my understanding of what he was saying was it was impossible to make any, so it is possible, but.
Some of the laws that changed in the EC within the last 2 years, so there are changes that went through where they may be able to do something.
I'm
The
actually.
more we know, I mean, all of them
And
know.
it depends, Dan, on whether you know, even with the lake lower, if you still have water, you're not sticking anything in that water.
Yeah.
There will be no permit to be digging through the water.
So if the water itself is what.
The individual that you were speaking about has water even when as it's lower level.
Hmm.
So would still need a permit for part of what he wants to do, and he may or may not get that permit. Same people are coming for his property.
Talking about the same person. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, bottom line is,
It's just good information for, I like, so I like
yeah,
to know.
and we like to know, especially because we live over there. We have to go to the DEC, and we can't do anything unless the DEC gives us the authority. If they give us the authority based off of the results of the test, it'll be a formal letterhead that will be brought back to this community for information only, but not for, we're not asking for permission. The homeowners who live over there, this would be a private cost that we would have to absorb.
Now,
Well, I think you would need permission from the association.
well, that's where I'm gonna go. So,
The association owns the lakes.
so in the event that somebody does get approved for a permit for the DEC, they would still need to follow a permit with the office probably.
Yeah, as well as the town.
So the board wouldn't know, any changes to.
They're not gonna be able to do anything unless the association signs off on, even when they start looking, and we will be involved in it.
And I think you all,
Past history.
I appreciate the good intention of this conversation, but this is something that's quarter-baked and is not at a level of readiness where it needs to be a matter of discussion. Sure. And we have an agenda ahead of us, so let's just
Yeah,
move on.
let's go on. So, bylaws committee, we did not meet in January. I'm working with, the co-chair, Scott Goldberg. We'll schedule a meeting soon. Oversight, Earl, I believe you said your meeting is this coming Tuesday?
Yes, I wasn't available last Tuesday, so
Okay.
we asked Brittany to send out a notification on mine.
All right, strategic planning and finance, our meeting is gonna be, sorry, guys, there's a typo here. It's actually gonna be Wednesday, the 24th, not Thursday, the 25th, which you see in your board books. And then events and welcoming, Chris or Alana, was there anything for that?
We did not have a meeting in January. The book club is moving and grooving. Their next book was announced. They have a meeting in March, and we will let the community know through email our next series of events coming up
Okay,
later on.
all right, questions, board members on any of the committees? All right,
No.
hearing none. All right, so we need to talk about our next board meeting date.
Patrick, can I bring something up?
Sure.
I'm looking here and I hadn't seen this, you ratified this listing agreement.
Yep.
For 90 North Emerald, I heard, you said you had you were giving them a 6-month exclusive right to sell. There's 2 pages in here, and one says it's a year, and the other one says it's 5 months. So something's not right, and did you agree on a 6-month?
That's not. We agreed on 6 months.
All right, because what you have in here, I don't know what you ratified. One says January 24 to January 25, that's a year.
That-
And then
That's just a mistaken page. It shouldn't be included. That's all.
but the second page just has January 3rd to June 3rd, which is 5 months. So gotta clear it up. If it's gonna be 6 months, it should be 6 months.
Michael,
Okay.
can you send the board the amended one that you're talking about?
Sure, it's just on the
So this
page of the agreement.
So it should be July
It's all-
3rd.
They defaulted for
for years, so.
But the second, there's two of them there, you see? So the second one should probably just be to July 3rd instead of June 3rd. It's 5 months, right?
So, okay, but hold on, but why don't we, that's 6 months, January, February, March, April, May, June.
Guys, it doesn't matter. We'll get it figured out.
It's
All right.
5 months.
Yeah, it was.
If it was full to the end of June, it was July 1st.
If it's-
6 months.
If it's 5 months, it's 5 months. I mean, really, it's not gonna,
Hopefully we won't have that problem, hopefully it's
I
sold.
counted it out like this. It looks that way.
Okay. all right.
Okay.
Well, Marvin, thanks for catching that. We'll get the clarification made. Let's go talk about our meeting date. So, our next meeting date, well, we usually have our meetings on the third Sunday in February. So the third Sunday of the month, the third Sunday in February is the 18th, which is the Sunday before the President's Week, holiday week where a lot of folks are away. So question is whether we want to stick with that date, move the date, or I guess historically the boards have not met in February. We met last year, but we had a lot going on at the time. We could skip and just go out to March. I really don't care one way or the other what we wind up doing, but I want to be respectful of folks' vacation schedules.
I propose we punt till March.
I mean, actually, so, I would suggest that we keep the meeting on the calendar. If it has to be a brief agenda, it can be a brief agenda. I'm thinking not only of, the rules that we, said we bring back, but I'm also thinking of some of the strategic planning, items, Patrick, that are gonna come up in committee and are gonna go through bylaws committee, and it may be helpful to keep that on the, agenda, or keep that on the calendar for now, so that we can, expedite the board vote if we have to.
All right, so let me ask it this way. Does anybody have a major problem with the 18th?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be in
I
the
do.
country. You wanna make it the next?
I do.
Earl does, Michael. You wanna make it the next Sunday? That's
The
fine.
25th.
We'll move it to the
No,
25th.
I'm sorry, the 28th. No, I lied.
The 25th? Okay, so,
Move it to the 25th, that works
so let's
for me.
move it to the 25th, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so February 25th will be our next meeting. We have a short executive session, but before we do that, I want to see if any folks in the room or online from the community have questions. So if you have a question and you're online, you can go ahead and use the raise hand feature, please. Is there anybody in the room, folks who, okay, Alana shaking her head, no. All right, no one's raised their hand so far, so going once, going twice. Okay, Marcy.
Hold on, Marcy.
Yep, Marcy, go ahead.
Okay, hi. Thank you for a great meeting. One concern, because I do use the Entertainium, so this was right from the beginning, with the amount of guests that people could bring in. I always thought it was 2, maybe it is 3. But so the volleyball games that are going on, just some information. I'd love to know what's happening there. I've seen, because I'm there, 12, 14 people. They go to the West Wing first, they're eating takeout food, there's clipboards, there's an organization going on. So could someone give me some information on this?
Sure, Michael, do you want to handle that? It's not an organization. It's members and their guests, but Michael, you can.
Tuesday and Thursday nights, they meet. It's a group of homeowners that get together and play volleyball, in the entertainment. This started back in, I think it was 2013. We bought the volleyball net, the blue one. They played in the winter months up until, we closed the entertainment down. And obviously now that we have the entertainment open, they're back playing again. There are members of the community and they come in and play volleyball. 7 on Tuesdays and I think 7 also on Thursdays. However, if anybody wants to join in, they're welcome to join in with them.
So thank you, Michael. So the guests they bring in, do they sign a waiver? Let's say someone gets hurt who's responsible? So going back to all the waivers and the passes and all of
All
that.
all guests sign waivers.
Okay, so we have a list of name if something happens for safety reasons.
I don't know that we keep a list of names. If they've signed a waiver, then I suppose we have a record of that. Yeah, but I don't know that we keep it as a list of names.
So.
Right, so when we do, let me just finish. So when we have a class, we have yoga, there's a list that we sign in. So when there's a big group coming in, I've seen 14, 12 people there. I don't, is there maybe?
We don't keep a list
No.
of that because it's not something we're organizing. It's not like a class we're putting on. It's just a bunch of folks getting
Okay.
together to play.
Okay, all right, thank you for the clarification.
Sure, no
Marcy,
problem.
was there a concern that some of these people were not homeowners?
I don't know who they are. I can't make that judgment. I'd love to know how, well, I'm not gonna go there.
Well,
Probably say hi to them.
Yeah, I can tell you, there's, those members, most of the people live in the community. Most of the people live in the community. There's 12 of them that are members in the, or 8 of them, I'm sorry, that are members of the community.
So if there's 8, they have the right to bring 3 guests.
Okay,
I think the only thing that I mentioned, thank you, Ms. Marcy. I suggested just from a safety perspective, that there's a sign-in sheet, and in that sign-in, for persons who come in, there's a waiver at the top of it, so by signing, you acknowledge the waiver. That is for those persons who
I
are.
don't know if we want to get enough of that because.
Everybody that comes in, then otherwise it looks
Right.
like it's discriminatory.
Alright,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
we
Like,
can say
yeah.
that.
Well,
when I'm a guest at a gym, any gym, I have to sign when I come in. I just went to Cross Fitness to go visit the gym and work out for free or whatever. I got to sign something. So if I went back tomorrow to say I want to just try it again or look around and see this machine again, I'm still going to sign that sign-in sheet. I don't know. I'm just
So if
thinking
we're
for
gonna
safety.
change Yeah, if we're gonna change our process, or that's something that you're proposing that you'd like us to look at to do for everyone, I think that maybe we could do that as a board together.
I don't want to change any processes. I just want to put it out there to have a thought process, or if anyone else thought the same thing or had any same concerns. Curious.
I think the one sticking point that was brought up was when you do have those type of events going on, it creates an issue with parking. That was like a legitimate concern, whereas if everyone's occupying all the parking spaces because they're guests or whatever, now nobody else has parking. So I can get that. So maybe we should put in, an amendment or something for guest parking or whatever.
Yeah, I think Dana's spot on. We should recommend guest parking over there, because I think
There's a lot there.
There's a lot there, and we just had guest park along the area
The
on
whole
both
road.
sides. So I think that's fair. Yeah, he's spot on about that.
Well, I think this is a good problem to have, that we're
Yeah.
seeing entertaining being used.
The thing is, we have to understand, we're not turning people away either. We're not telling people during those hours, you can't come in. But there is do you know how many we're allowed to have inside?
Oh, it's a capacity?
200 or about,
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
Probably.
It's a big
But
group.
it's different from sitting and standing. I bet you it's.
You still have the same issues you always had, if people, someone wants to play basketball and there's 8 people and 8 are in, that's
We're
always,
not turning anyone away.
but that's always an
I
issue,
do-
who has the court, right?
Also with this, if people. I do know if they come at 7, somebody's already playing pickleball. It's not like, they're strong arming it.
No, they
get
said
up.
wait,
They
for people
said
that
wait.
wait, because I was here one of the nights, I don't come too often in the evening, but I was here, and they waited very patiently for.
Oh,
people
yeah,
that-
they're very,
Oh.
No one has any more rights than anyone else, right?
Yeah,
Gotta
it's
wait for
shared
something.
space. People got to figure it out. It sounds like it's working, so that's good.
The other thing, maybe we put it on the calendar so everybody board.
That's what I was gonna bring up. Maybe we should start, because the place is getting such usage, that we have something on our website that says, okay, if I wanna play pickleball from 7 to 8, I sign up, or if I wanna play.
And if they don't come.
Now, don't get there. Don't go there till you need it.
We talked about, Joe, we addressed that specifically with the events committee when we were looking at opening the facility and we, based on recommendations from management, that was.
When you need it,
You
you'll
know,
know
in
it.
this case, it might be important, because you actually might get more people that wanna play volleyball that are not part of that,
But we're not running it. We,
but it's happening,
so it's great.
it's physically happening.
That's right. For
And there's-
the events, we're not running it. We're not taking ownership.
Because Mark, to answer your question, and we rolled around the question, unless we're gonna make, somebody can propose some motion to action on this, can we just move forward and then answer Donna's question and then get on with our life?
Thank you, Ms. Marcy.
Okay, Donna Goldoff?
I want to just follow up on what Marcy said, kind of. First of all, when I was there, thank you so much. The entertaining's been a game changer in the winter for all of us. I think it would be a good idea for us to put on the website or an email. When I was there, there were at least 20 Asian men playing volleyball. I have no problem with that, but I think if this is a standard thing, maybe we can put it in the